Well, it's World Teachers' Day, and the theme for this year is the transformation of education begins with teachers. It's become imperative to identify the critical role of teachers in transforming learners' potential by ensuring they have the tools they need to take responsibility for themselves, for others, and for the planet. Today, as the world celebrates the accomplishments, immense contributions, and policies of educators around the world that have helped shape the lives of many, it is an opportunity to identify and resolve issues involving the teaching profession while thanking educators for consistently working to improve the value of lives in today's society. Dr. Kabombo Kashumba, Zambia Congress of Trade Union, ZCTU, Southern Province, and the regional coordinator, and Obert Masarore, the president, Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, join me next. Thank you, gentlemen, and thanks for your time. Let's start by talking about what the day is about today. Dr. Kashumba, now, what are some of the issues relating to teachers in your country you would like to share, and perhaps if there are possible solutions you want to attach to that issue?
Thank you very much. I hope you're able to get me. Are you able to get me?
Yes, Kashumba, I can hear you.
Hello? Thank you very much. As you have already mentioned that this year we are celebrating the Teachers' Day under the theme, the transformation of education begins with the teachers, which is a very important theme. As you can understand that education from time immemorial began, first of all, with the informal education that we first of all got from our traditional societies, which have in time transformed or evolved to the current education system that we have now amalgamated with the etiquette of a European education system. And since then, our education has moved forward, and it is able to change lives of our learners in different sectors of society. And it is very much important for every teacher, for every member of the teaching fraternity, to ensure that they celebrate this day of World Teachers' Day, because the amount of work that teachers dedicate to society, to the learners, to the child out there, it's mammoth, gigantic, as well as very much offering positive impact to society in many trajectories of their lives.
Kashumba, let me come in here. Tell us, if you will, what are some of the patterns teachers can adopt in this technological age to teach the different range of students and people in general?
Thank you very much. As I've mentioned already, that the teaching pedagogies have transformed since time immemorial, and since they've transformed, there are several avenues in which we transmit knowledge to our learners. Speaking, I myself, I am an education educator at a university college, and we use various ways of teaching our learners, and through all those various ways, such as Zoom, such as Microsoft Teams, such as Google Meet, and many others, we are able to have an educative intercourse with our learners which at the end of the day, they are impacted with knowledge, they are impacted with intellectual capital, which they use in their lives as a source of income. As you are aware, that the role that we play as teachers is that of imparting intellectual capital, imparting knowledge to the learners, knowledge and skills, which at the end of the day, these learners use that capital to help society, not only to help society, but also to earn a living out of it. Looking at all these works which a teacher does, it's quite clear that such a day like 5th of September, that has been set aside to celebrate the works, the efforts, and the sacrifices that teachers have given in order for them to ensure that a child out there becomes a better child.
Okay, let me jump in here. Dr. Kashumba, let me jump in here. I'm sure you meant to say 5th of October. Now, looking at the online tools, which you highlighted earlier on, Google Meet, Zoom, Skype, and the likes.
Yeah.
Help us. How easy are these for some of your colleagues? Are there special form of training that is required for some of the teachers in your country to be able to apply these knowledge to teaching students?
Yeah, I should hasten to mention that while we've got these modern techniques of rendering classroom instruction to our learners, I should also confess that we are facing a lot of challenges. As you are aware that Zambia is one of the developing nations in Africa, and that being the case, the amount of equipment that has been invested by stakeholders to ensure that the modality of education transmission we are talking about be achieved is quite a challenge at the end of the day, because more especially in the rural areas, it's very difficult to apply the systems of teaching that we've just mentioned that require internet connectivity. And to make matters worse, these internet connectivities, even if they are available, they require one to have some financial resource to buy data or bundles, so that at the end of the day, there can be that mutual kind of communication between the two parties. But as I've mentioned already, that these challenges are there, but we are moving forward as a nation. I think many of the rural parts have been connected, but others also are not yet connected. But for the many of those that are connected, we are able to undertake this kind of teaching with our learners out there in the urban areas, peri-urban, as well as in the rural and remote areas.
And let's talk more about the rural areas. What are the challenges your colleagues, teachers now, have teaching in these rural areas?
Thank you very much. There are several challenges that teachers are facing in the rural and remote areas. One of the major challenges is a poor road network. Poor road network, a lot of the rural areas and remote areas are impassable. Most of the roads can only be utilized well during the dry season. During the wet season, the rain season, it becomes almost impossible for them to even access facilities such as banks, facilities that can lead them to areas of civilization. And that being the case, that becomes a source of demotivation on the part of the teachers. But working with government, government is equally trying its level best to ensure that all these areas which are impassable can be passable at the end of the day. As a labor movement, the labor movement is a major stakeholder of government, and we are continuing to encourage government. We are continuing to advocate for government to ensure that rural teachers and remote teachers are provided with basic necessities as well as basic facilities that can afford them live better, even in the places where they are.
And bring to us now the students. You know, it's one thing to teach, and another thing to look to your students having a grasp of knowledge shared. Have you had cases where students are excited about teachers to the extent that they say to you, I also want to be a teacher like yourself?
Thank you very much. There are a good number of them who are inspired by a lot of us teachers. And I should hasten also to mention that many of our children, more especially here in Zambia, would want to be teachers. Why? They would want to be teachers because they've now come to realization that teaching is one noble career that can orchestrate national development. And they've also come to know that teaching is a career that helps society to understand things better. You may want to know Zambia as a nation that in the past month or two, the government of Zambia employed more than 30,000 teachers. More than 30,000 teachers to cater for the deficit of teachers, more especially in the rural areas. And a lot of young teachers have been employed, and we still have got a lot more who are still waiting to be employed. But as a labor movement, we've also encouraged the private sector to ensure that they absorb some of these teachers who've been trained in both government and private teaching learning institutions. And to me, this shows that a good number or a great number of our population desires to become teachers. And that being the case, it means that they have noticed and realized that this fraternity is a very good fraternity that does not only contribute to national development, but also contributes to their livelihood.
Let me quickly come in here, Kashumba. Now you're talking about fraternity. Let's quickly, I see that Obert finally has been able to join us. Obert Masarore, who is the president, Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe. Obert, happy World Teachers Day and congratulations, and good to know that you're here. Tell us, how is the day going for teachers in Zimbabwe?
Thank you so much.
Well, it looks like I lost the connection to Zimbabwe. So I'll come back to you, and Kashumba. Let's close on some few other issues. As a unionist, speaking on behalf of the teachers in your country, what are the major demands that you would love to see the government do to making teaching an enjoyable and interesting profession for you all?
Thank you very much. As a labor movement, I think our demands have been very clear, and they are still very clear even up to now. What we believe, my brother, is that there is no nation that can develop without education. And any nation that has developed in the world has used the education as an instrument to its citizenry, to enlighten them, to offer them the knowledge and the skills. And us as a labor movement, we also understand this phenomenon that education is a cornerstone of development. And because of that, we continue to engage government to realize that in order for government to implement nice policies, good policies that can propel development, such policies are supposed to be education-based, such policies are supposed to be research-based, and such policies are supposed to be tried and approved by the members of the academia. And it should suffice to mention that the current government in Zambia recognizes that a fact that the labor movement as an entity that is existing with the by the law, which is the Industrial Labor Relations Act, Cap 269 of the laws of Zambia. They do understand that we are major stakeholders in the development of this nation. And because of that, they are aware of our demands. And some of our demands are that we demand a fair share of the national cake, meaning that we would want government to offer a living wage to the public service worker. A living wage is that which offers a teacher or a government worker with the basic necessities of life. If that can afford a public service worker to manage the basic needs of society, and not only that, but also to even afford a public service worker to buy a car or to build a house, I think that is a focus that we are focusing at right now.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Kabombo Kashumba, for your time, and and Albert Meserore, irrespective of how awful the connection to Zimbabwe has been, would like to thank you for your time as well. And of course, many thanks to Ejike Okwa, who joined us from Texas. And Sulaiman, many thanks for watching.